Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cocking.
And he is Captain Foley's.
Yes, and today we are feeling quite noble. Just because we're looking at the noble class.
Yes, Stuart, we have dived back into, I think, a very well-known early Star Trek Online design, one that was plastered on promotional art. I certainly remember it from box art. I'm sure when I packed away DVD cases, it's there. And now we're going to bring it to you in full HD, which maybe the game couldn't do back in the day. I'm not quite sure. It's a long time now. Compared to the Sovereign, look at it, and you know what? Probably looked at it more than it ever meant to. This famous sort of Sovereign. First of all, Stuart, do you remember it?
I do remember it, yeah. I'm still impressed with it. It does look like they took a Sovereign and plated it up, armored it up, but yeah, I think it's still a pretty cool design. A little bit of overkill, especially for the Federation.
Let's just try something. Why? But it created a very specific, different, yet familiar vibe. And certainly having a too small to be a torpedo launcher, roll bar, warp sustainer, thinking NX vibe, entirely changed the vibe. Just that alone, give or take a little stuff. But it's super Sovereign, yet not. Obviously, this is, like I said, old stow model with old stow texturing, so all of the caveats of this is not their best work. It might not even be in the game anymore. I don't know. But you know what? I think it has a bit of charm.
Oh, absolutely. Don't know if charm is the word, but uniqueness for sure. It's a little bit overkill for charm.
Because I don't know if it's meant to imply armor equals battle ready. It's like there's sort of additional saucer and then some... But the cores are still...
Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah. I mean, the plating on the nacelles kind of says, like, extra protection, but...
See? It's not quite vibing, just like a new battle variant.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out as we look around the back view.
Extra impulse engine on that thing. I wish they would have made that weapons pod, because that would have been kind of cool, honestly.
Why is the shuttle bay a warp coil? Or a deflector?
Is there shuttle bays in the neck? No.
I mean, there's a space for it. But again, this is not their best work. Like all the blinkies are just four-sided triangles. It's fine to see the pro still in there. And there's kind of a multi-plate text. But just why have they swapped out the aft clamshell for a... I mean, it has to be aft deflector, right? Because it's... But what?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. And also, them plating up the impulse engines on the rear of the saucer, just it feels very odd to me.
Mm-hmm. And they've definitely done... I mean, they've obviously added something to the neck, but it makes it look as if, and we'll see later with the comparison sidewise, they've raised the saucer higher and then added more neck, because the neck is overly... It's not good. Although, kind of the F... Not to say it's not good, that's designed for it, but the way it feels like they've shifted things, that it's entirely broken that smooth, elegant, proportional neck.
Yes, but I actually kind of like this better. I like it has more of a traditional Starfleet ship vibe with more of a neck. That's one thing that kind of bugs me about the Enterprise E, is just like it's all kind of one piece. You know?
So you like the stepped approach?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do. I'd like to know what's on the back of the nacelles there, by the way. Just seems like an odd choice. Just addition for the sake of addition.
I mean, John does like fins. And for the design of this, and I say designer, maybe inverted commas, said, hey, John Eves on Sovereign, he also designed the EB. The B he added fins. Let's add fins. But adding native space, adding no discernible detailing on them, is just kind of shapes. Bottom view, the most sovereign-y, I think, because it's the least view you're going to see in the game, because of course you're looking top down from the back. So this is much more Sovereign in terms of lack of changes.
You can see there's a lot of escape pods on the bottom, more so than on the top of the saucer.
All monotone in this texturing as well, in the standard variant. Not pre the Stowe black and white, or even the Nemesis black.
Yeah, and the weapons pods or the torpedo launchers underneath the deflector. That's a nice touch. I like that.
But I like the deflector, the way it's cut out. That's it's a different approach. I kind of like it. I don't know why there's lots of windows on the secondary hull which then sort of stop.
Yeah.
That's odd.
And way differently scaled than the ones on the saucer. But that's fine. I mean, I'm fine with having porthole windows, more ship-like in that regard. kind of.
And,
But
and it's odd that there's normally a cut into the hull to have a sort of mess hall-y vibe. They've at the front of the saucer or middle of the saucer, they've extruded it and added spotlights, which are spotlighting nothing. There might be, and they can't even be. Obviously, I've missed registry textures here, but they can't even be a registry there because there's windows there, so they're spotlighting people's faces who are looking down underneath the floor at the.
although one thing I do like about this, which has always bothered me about the Sovereign, I like the deflector on this one better than the Sovereign. I wish it was. I wish the Sovereign's was not yellow, because blue's kind of always been the thing. So I like that and the way it's shaped.
Yes, that I think works quite well. This view kind of, if you look at the nacelles and the Bassards or the Bassard areas in particular, now feels you can kind of see as if they've had control cuffs that have gone to protect them from being sort of from mutants and X-Men. Now they can't move because they've got control cuffs around the neck. It's like, and now there's little diddly Bassard with stuff around it. It's like, what?
That's to keep it from going warp 15, which it's capable of. You can only go warp 9.9 with those. If you need to have the emergency speed and become a lizard, those break off, and then you got like full access to all of your warp.
Stuart, canon. Yep, canon did it. You solved the issue. Back view. I think this mostly works. This kind of has a swooping feel that the extra of the saucer just makes it feel more pointed, like as in more points versus the smoothness of the Sovereign. You're losing all the subtlety, but you're kind of getting the overall vibe. And this, I think, is rather nice, actually.
It is, yeah. Except the back of those nacelles still kind of bother me a bit, but that's all right. I do like the struts. The struts are kind of a cool design idea.
Just two cutouts at the front for reasons.
Yeah,
and then
I need explanations for these things. I need to know the purpose behind it. That's kind of always been our thing, Change or shapes just for the sake of it is kind of weird, but if you have a reason for them, that would be great. I'd like to know those.
Or just talk to Rick Sternbach and he'll invent a reason out of whole cloth in front of you that's like, oh, that sounds smart. He's like, does it? That's good. He just sort of says whatever his brain thinks he is Mr. Trekman. And also the secondary line of pylon, which is just added and then cut out of, showing that it was not there for a reason anyway.
Mm-hmm. And the struts are way more curved than on the Sovereign class as well.
Which we'll see in a minute. It's weird.
But in an interesting way.
Now let's see if orthographically this thing sings. Top and bottom. And yes, that neck, second hole, entirely different from the top. They've really... all the shapes are different. That's far more different than I thought.
Yeah, I do like these views, honestly.
This is way more different than I thought, actually.
Yeah. It's more of a... it's not, even the saucer is not the same kind of shape as the Sovereign. I don't think it's as elongated. They've kind of...
or it's added to the sides.
Yeah. I think they've kind of squatted down, make more roundish, as opposed to the longer.
It's definitely more roundish, yeah.
Yeah. I do like the additions to the saucer from the top and bottom, though. Bottom, not so much. Not as much. The top is quite nice, in my opinion.
I mean, it's a conceptually good top, but once you start looking at relative views, it falls apart. So if you took it and tweaked it. But now I see, and this is weird because you wouldn't notice otherwise, now I see a logic in the pylons and the back curve of the additional nacelle elements. There's now a curve shape, which actually flows.
Yeah, and it continues back to those back fins.
Like there's a something. Why it's there, but now it looks as if there is two sets of pylons. Now, almost could there have been another pylon there at some point, and maybe the modeler was told to take it out? A dual pylon nacelle.
The roll bar thing, I'm not. First of all, if that was out, I think it would be a much better design. It's kind of not really needed there. And I almost wish that instead of curving backwards, it would have angled more forwards to be more like an arrowhead. I think that would have made the ship look a lot better as well.
Wow, that would change a lot, yeah. I mean, I think it works some. I don't know what it's trying to be, but it does gives it a vibe that's quite unique. Now the front, the side, and the back. Yep, there's the Sovereign a neck and saucer pushed up a significant amount. You can literally see. Hell knows the deck layout, but let's say 6 decks of additional just doof. Now it's visible.
Yeah, and I like that a lot better than the Sovereign, honestly.
It's more chunky though. It's
it
not
is.
way less sleek, but it does change the vibe. And this would be very hard to work out in Stowe, this view, to know this concept. It's a fun view, like, shine the light on this design.
I gotta say that front look is super powerful. That looks really cool.
The nacelles feel chunky, but in a good way. The second hull feels chunky in a good way. The saucer feels chunky in a good way. Integrated, but nice. Even the back's not bad. It has an odder vibe, very much like the F. Again, the neck and the secondary hull vibe.
But there's a very noticeable lack of shuttle bays. Like, I can't see where they would be on this ship at all. There's lots of spaces where they could be, but they didn't put a door in, so...
And why on earth would you turn the one that was into a blue glow that's either a reflector or a warp coil and neither work?
Or a communications array or a sensor palette.
There we go, Stuart. Nailed it. Canon. Now, how do you feel about the... Now we can see in broad daylight, as it were, the nacelle has obviously been elongated at the top to be like a proper downslope. Chunky at the front, sleek at the back. How does that feel now you're seeing it? Because that is not the Sovereign. I didn't notice it early on, but that's not Sovereign.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, actually. I think it really adds a sleekness to the bulk that they've added. I think they might have tried to equal it out by doing that. And I think it works, honestly. Although from the front, those nacelles are quite chunky, but in a good way. It does feel armored. Those nacelles feel armored.
Well, it feels like they've tried to supercharge a Sovereign.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they did, yeah.
And in fact, I'm just noticing the fact I actually quite like this. They've taken the warp coils from the top, which was quite an unusual thing for the Sovereign, because it's the first real time from the top, and now they're in the sides and the bottom. Which my brain noticed, but I didn't put two and two together until now, because it's such a normal aesthetic for Starfleet to have that. I like the side coils. I always have. I always will. I'm a fan. All right, are you ready for some comparison goodness, Stuart? This is where the magic happens, okay? Maybe. Okay, top and bottom view. This, of course, is the First Contact style model built for the promotion of the film. So not literal canon, made via blueprints, etc. So pinch of salt, but it's close. And I've scaled them to be the exact same length. Does not mean they are the same actual size, but that's what I've done just for this comparison. What stands out to you?
There's a simplicity and a cleanness to the Sovereign. This one looks more like darker universe, more battle ready with the coloring, and also just the chunk of it. But like I said, get rid of that roll bar and I would absolutely love this design.
It's so darn different in almost every way. Less than you think, and more than you think, sorry. But I see elements they've grabbed, shapes they've grabbed, and done something with to extend. I mean, you can see every single part of the saucer where they've pushed and prodded to what is there in the design. I mean, that front bit that in the other one is just a slight panel line, a slight plate line. They've now raised and made a distinct. That's there. Both cutouts on the saucer, which in the original version can push out a little bit, give a bit of flair. Now they're really big, but they're there, right? Like there's a certain flow that's like, oh, I see what they were going for, and then you get things like the pylons that are like radically different and random and weird and who knows, and the neck is just adding stuff, and they've halved the impulse engines for no reason, and they had a third Bassard tip and lots of things. Some of it I see, some of it's random. But it's both really freaking different, and I see the logic. And that's not what I was expecting.
There's more differences than we thought at first, but there's also more similarities than a lot of people think as well. And like I said, look at that saucer shape. They've truncated it to make it more round as opposed to more elongated. So I kind of like that, personally.
But because it feels like they've literally pushed the geometry this way and shrunk it, the way the bridge module would be this long giant curve out, and now it's this truncated piece. I see the logic of it just being stretched in or pushed in. Again, I didn't notice it was that different from the perspectives. This is a 1-to-1, or at least roughly scale 1-to-1. Fascinating. All right, the side view. Again, scaled to match about.
Yeah, I like the addition of the neck. I really do. It makes it It makes it feel more Starfleet, in my opinion. Although the secondary hull seems very undersized now. Like they should have beefed it out a bit because it seems way too sleek. Like in the other picture, the other side view, I had noticed that they made the saucer bigger and taller, and it felt right. But now seeing them side by side, it's like that secondary hull on the Noble class here needs to be dropped down a bit, like made a little bit bigger.
Again, you're not meant to see this ship in this way, right? We're cheat coding our way into epicness here, and proportionally, this is now all out of whack. Comparative, because the E is so sleek. I would probably, if I'd done the E, I would have made this also a bit thicker because it's so thin and sleek. But now we've gone really the opposite direction for the Noble, and it is radically too much, I think. And also taken away a lot of the subtlety. By losing that secondary hull push out, it makes it feel kind of flat stomached, but in a bad way. Losing the predominance of the front later quantum launcher is now just much flatter. You lose the depth there as well. You're losing some of the elements that kind of give it those extra bits they've lost here entirely.
This is a ship that's focused on leg day and not done anything else with the rest of its body.
Leg and neck.
Yeah, leg and neck. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I still like the design. There would be some minor and some major tweaks and changes that I'd make. But overall, I like the idea that they were going with. Just lose the roll bar or modify it to look better and add a weapons pod or something on it.
Make that a second quantum launcher.
Exactly, yeah.
That would be that would be powerful. Imagine firing aft quantums. Oof. Yeah, so in this sort of last view, it is like the classic. This and that weird not Connie. Those are the two ones that like the ship came out with, which kind of present it as we're sort of making Star Trek in the future. Are you? Yeah. Did you design stuff? We did stuff. Did you design it? Well, we gave it to Jeff, and Jeff sort of spent a Thursday morning on it. Oh, do we like it? Well, it's in the game already. Oh, right, okay. But that said, a plethora of things in this. It's shockingly, compared to that Defiant variant we looked at a few weeks ago, which had nothing on the underside. This has been done. This has been worked on. Stuff has happened all over the place. I appreciate I'm not gonna say thought has been put in, but the amount of work. Is that right? Amount of time. Don't know that either. The amount of differences.
Yeah.
I like it, Stuart. I like it.
The amount of uniqueness. I think we use the word unique quite a lot in this episode. So this is the unique sovereign, otherwise known as the Noble class. So, guys, we want to hear your thoughts on this. Comment down below. Is this a ship you used? Is it still in the game? Is it one that you like? What kind of changes would you make? We want to hear your thoughts and comments as always. So comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button. And be sure to join us for all the other stuff we do, because we do a few things around here.
And if you want to go back and look at our last few weeks, months, all the stove ships, all the other game ships, a lot of fun stuff in high detail renders. You know, Stuart, you all know. It's really fun to do that. And support us if you can via Patreon. It's a monthly service that lets us do what we do here on a weekly basis. And when New Trek is along on a daily basis, oh my goodness. Or one-time donations via Super Chats on our lives, any amount. Put your voice heard, or you can control some of our game shows that we do. You can really reverse engineer your own victory, or you can say, oh no, Sam deserves this. It's like, oh no, fun stuff like that. Or join the channel on YouTube. It's like Patreon, but not. Or super thanks on any video, or buy a shirt down below. Literally all of the ways, Stuart. They'll help. And thank you in advance for any and all of them.
That's right. So until next time, he's Commander Cockins.
He's got a Foley.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.